anything else. But my mother was the same with my sister's daughter. She was the first grandchild my mother had. Spoiled rotten, dude. They would go shopping all the time. This is how bad it was, right? During the summertime, no school. Okay. At that time, I think I was the only. It was me and my sister, the only ones left in the house. All my brothers joined the service. I will always break night, meaning I hang out till 6 in the morning, come home, sleep till like maybe 3 or 4, do the cycle all over again because I had no school. So I hang out with my friend, we'll play basketball, whatever the case may be. I used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, because my intercom would go off. And I'd be like, yo, who is it? And they'd be like, yo, Izzy, come down. We're going to go play ball. So I'm like, cool. I'll be right down. So I'm getting dressed. Again, it's just me in the house. I'm getting dressed. And I shit you not, as literally I'm trying to leave out the door, I hear, wah, wah. And I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, my mother and my sister would leave me babysitting without telling me so they could go shopping. How fucked up was that? And I used to look in the crib, and there is my niece just looking at me like, hey. So at like 14 years old, I already was learning how to be a parent already, like how to change the baby and everything else. But they would literally go shopping for hours. And that was pretty much my whole day. Like, I was like, okay, well, I'm stuck here. Because they know if they would ask me, I would be like, hell no, because I want to go to the park and play ball, hang out with my friends. But they would not say anything. They would just literally just bounce and then come back and be like, hey, how was the baby? And I'm like, damn, that's fucked up, man. Yeah. Like, how do you know that I was going to be responsible enough to take care of the child? You know what I'm saying?
It's like back in the day, man. It's like, there's so much shit now that just cannot happen nowadays at all. Like, there's much shit. Yeah. Like, leaving a 14-year-old, like, the idea of me leaving a 14-year-old with even a year-old is like, you outside your goddamn mind, man. Like, nowadays, honestly, though, what's funny, though, if you were to tell that story, someone would be like, oh, they must be ghetto. Like, oh, they must be... But it was just back in the days, like, I don't know why. It's like we had more faith in humanity, I guess. And, like, we've learned, like, no, they're actually idiots, man. A 14-year-old can burn down a house because of a Popeye, like, or whatever they are. Like,
dude, I had no clue what I was doing. And, I couldn't leave the baby in a fucking piss diaper. You know what I'm saying? So I would understand, from what I watch in movies and stuff like that, change the diaper, wipe down and everything else. But every time the mother came home, I'd be like, hey, go clean your daughter because, you have to really get in there with the females. But the thing that pissed me off the most was that every time they came home with the shopping bags, I never got nothing. No fucking basketball shorts, not even a basketball shirt, socks. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least hook me up because you're not paying me. I'm not a real babysitter where I'm getting paid to watch your child. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it because I'm the uncle, I'm the Theo, but yet you're not even telling me that I'm doing it. You're not even warning me. You're just bouncing. And dude, Mike, dude, they will come back with like 30 bags, bro. From fucking JC Penney, TJ Maxx, here, there, Century 21. Like 30 bags of fucking clothes, all for the baby. I used to be like, yo, that's fucked up, man. And that's why I used to always break night because my mom would work late in the night and I knew my sister would be home. My dad would sometimes be home. And it was like, I didn't want to be home when knowing that my sister would be like, yo, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Dude, I just spent hours already with the baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I would just break night, but they will always do that, man. I wake up, I'll be like, yes, I'm home alone. I'm leaving. I look in the crib. And there's the fucking baby, man. It was crazy. But that's why me and her are really close, though. Me and my oldest niece, we really, really have a close relationship. I think it's just because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, I was talking to my wife, and then I was telling her that somebody that you and I were deployed with, I have a picture of them, like, hungover, like, drunk as shit.
Yeah.
And they are now, like, a sergeant major. Like, have you ever noticed that? How, like, there's some people that you, like... you're old enough now where you know the people that are getting higher up that when they were fucking young as shit, they were probably doing some of the, like, I have dirt on, like, a couple people where it's like, man, you're kind of in a high position, but I knew you when you were an idiot. We both knew each other when we're dumb, but yeah, I was telling her about that. Like, it's crazy. You and I have, I have a picture of a guy from Honduras that we went out clubbing with, and he's just, like, drunk, and it's like, he's a sergeant major now. Like, he's, like, somebody important, but he was fucking doing some dumb shit, and we had blasts,
Oh yeah, I honestly think like the military, you could hold over secrets over anybody, man.
Hmm.
Especially when you go on deployments and stuff. Like there's been times that I see people act a certain way that I'm like, yo, back at home you don't be doing things like that. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? But it was like that bond, like you just didn't go back and fucking rat anybody out. You
yeah,
just enjoy. But you're right, man. Like pictures. That's why, like, most of my Honduras pics of us just going out and stuff. But I didn't really care to put up other pictures.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because shit would have been fucking crazy. And I actually did fuck up one time. So I met up with a buddy that was with us in Honduras, and I remember him telling me a story about I think it was some girl that he was with and everything else, but then he was like married and whatnot. And I fucking called his wife by that girl's name, and she was like, and he was like, no, 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 that's not right. Like, but I was like, oh, my bad. Like, I didn't know, you know. But he gave me that look, like,
Oh,
yo,
he
Izzy,
fucked
like,
up.
what the fuck you doing, man? But I don't know why that never normally happened to me, but I don't know why it came out. It probably might have been because of the drinks and stuff, but like when he introduced me to her, I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, he talks about you and this and this and that," and she's like, "That's not me," and I was like, "Oh shit, like my bad, dude, my bad."
Yeah, well, even to the point of like when we're talking about like Honduras, like you gotta talk about a story about somebody fucking their hooch maid. That shit's hilarious as fuck. 'Cause,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like you don't ever say nobody's name, but it's like always like, "Yep," that silent nod to each other, like, "Yep," like. And I swear to God, I think he got promoted. He was like he went up high up too as well, I believe. Like I think,
Oh god, that's crazy.
but it's like everybody was just fucking. We're all younger. We're all
Yeah.
wild. Nobody really thought about like
No, Mike, speak for yourself on that one, motherfucker. Because I wasn't gonna fuck with any of those hooch
no.
maids.
I don't understand any of that shit. Like I try to explain it to my wife. Like I explained to my wife like we were in small little rooms and people were still hiring them. But the funny part was somebody actually fucked one of them and it was like, what do you do? He's like, oh man, like I got a picture in my wallet of her. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing, man? It was like the most random shit in the world. And it's
But the
like,
crazy thing is that these hooch maids are not
no,
young, pretty girls. These are some fucking viejas. These are
yeah.
some old ass bitches that are like 60, 50, 60, like trying
It
to
was a grandma.
grandma. Yes.
It
Dude,
was.
I was yo when that story was told, I was like I couldn't talk to that person for a couple of minutes. I was like, dude, you need to walk away. Like walk away. He's just, and the crazy thing is that he was just like, eh?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I had to do it. He's like, I just been in a fucking drought, and I'm like, bro, just masturbate then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put on your put a porno on your laptop and go to town.
But no,
But
he had a little photo of her, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, are you
oh
getting feelings
man,
for your hooch maid?
stop it, stop it. Oh my god.
But it's funny though, like that is funny though because if you think about those things, like there's so many stories that people have of just stupid shit like that.
Yes.
I mean, even I heard them in Japan where like their mama-san, the same thing. You know what they have over there, like military guys and girls are some of the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life, and their stories for a reason. Like,
Yeah.
it's like when people are like, thank you for your service. I'm like, man, a lot of us are fucking idiots, man. We've done some
Right.
dumb shit. And they trust us for some reason. I don't know why we're trusted with so much, but yeah, like like that was it. Like fucking a hooch maid. And it's like, but he lived up to his name though. Like
He
that was it.
did.
He did.
He did. That shit
Yep.
was crazy. Yeah. Yeah. The nickname was nasty, but he
Yeah.
was nasty, bro. That
And just
motherfucker. It fit him well. It really
did.
did fit him well, man. Because
But
you're thinking about Honduras, where let's be honest, it was easy to get laid. It was simple. I mean, there were people there that if they were back in the United States, no girl would give them the time of day. But these Honduran girls would because they knew how to play the game as well as the guys were trying to play the game. But the fact that these motherfuckers were getting peace, you know what I'm saying? Like they were smashing and Nasty couldn't. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like you
Well,
serious? Like you're not doing something right, man.
do you remember when we went on like it was a 4-day weekend, and so like we're on a deployment, we get a 4-day weekend. We actually fly to Roatan. Well, he used to take like because he was afraid of the planes. He would actually just get drunk he would have like the IV of tequila
Yeah.
because he would just shake so much on an airplane. So it's like he spent most of his time drunk. If he wasn't drunk, like I think that's why he couldn't like find a girl because he was drunk
Oh my
and he spent most
God.
of his time like incompetent,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just like inebriated.
Yeah.
It's like no wonder you can't talk to a girl, man. Like you're drunk half the
Yeah.
time.
Yo, I'll be honest with you. Like, I try to reconnect. He was block. Like, don't even reach out because he knows the stories and he knows that God forbid we ever cross paths. He'd be like, "Yo, remember this time?" And he'd be like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it's like
But
yeah.
I can't reconnect. Like, he won't. I think I only have this person on LinkedIn. That's it. I can't even connect to be like, "Yo, what's up? How's everything?"
Watch him
Like,
be like a sergeant major or some shit like that.
yeah,
Because I
he
think he
just
got
wants.
promoted.
It would say he was a good soldier though. He was good people though. I liked him a lot. He was good people.
Well, that's what was funny is that it was during that time frame where like you could like debauchery was at its highest form that we were going through over there, but you were still good. Like you still work and stuff like that. So, because I remember I think we went to a club one time, and that's even funnier is like we're working with officers, and then we're drinking on officers on the weekend. Like one or what had chicken wings in his pocket because he was so drunk the night before. Like he stole chicken wings, and so it's just like some like.
Oh my god.
I'm an E4 and we're partying with like a major or like a
Major,
colonel or some shit like
captain,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, like all these other people, and then they get so drunk they actually steal chicken wings and have it in their pockets the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
day. It's like what are
See,
we
but
doing?
that's the thing is like, again, it was the code. You know what I'm saying? If you went in deployments, whatever happened there, stay there.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever went back home and was like, dude, you're not gonna believe I was with A, B, C, name, and this is
Yeah.
what we did. You just didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like if we met on deployment, whatever happened in deployment, that stayed with us wherever we went. Like even now that we're out, we'll share the same stories and everything else. But never once would I go back to my home base and be like, "Yo, this dude Mike, he was doing this." Never. Like, how was the deployment? It was good. I had a good time. Met some cool people, and that was it. Done. End of discussion. But dude, it was it was a good time. Honduras was top base that I've been there that I really enjoyed, man.
Well, it's like you
was a lot
hear all
of
these
fun.
stories about the military, and then like you hear them, and you're like, "Damn, that'd be awesome." And then you go there and be like, "Oh, this is where it's at, man. This is a place the military forgot about because they don't have
Yeah.
any fucking rules there or regulations,
Yeah.
man. That shit was." But it's one of those like I'm really glad I got to experience it because it's one of those fun times where you got to sit there and say like, I went somewhere and I really don't even talk about what I did there because I really don't know what we can and cannot talk about half the time.
Yeah.
And also, we just had a lot of fucking fun. To the fact that still keep in touch with a couple of y'all, which is pretty awesome. Like especially when the pictures come up and stuff like that, you're like, damn, I cannot believe we were deployed, and
Right.
I think we got drunk that night or whatever. And
I
so
mean,
probably
what
some good shit.
we had Tequila Wednesday,
Yeah,
something Tuesday, something Thursday.
stupid. I remember it was like Cinco de Mayo, and you told everybody it was my birthday, so all the Puerto Ricans were like, because the Puerto Rican National Guard was there, so they were just buying me shit.
Yo, those were some crazy motherfuckers, man. You want to talk about like really trying to go out there and fucking party and everything else? Like those motherfuckers were doing some conniving, like unauthorized shit. Because they tell you can't go to these places, and these motherfuckers didn't give a fuck. But they were guard, like they just didn't care. That like their chain of command was back in Puerto Rico. They were only there to supplement,
Yeah.
But I remember do you remember the E9 that got caught for curfew?
Mm-mm.
You remember the older man, the older gentleman? He was the Army Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major.
Mm-hmm.
So curfew,
Mm-hmm.
1:30, I think it was. If you're I think it was 2:00. If you're past that, you're fucked because that was like zero tolerance. Like the commander was not having any deals with that. Tell me why the Army E9 came strolling through at fucking, I think it was like 201, 202, something like that. And the Army Puerto Rican Guard, they didn't play, man. Like, if you violated, you violated. Yo, when he walked in, they told him to turn around and put his hands behind his back. Like, they read him like, I don't know if they read him like the Miranda rights or whatever, but they read to him like, you violated curfew. You're being obtained, taken into custody or whatever. And yo, he was drunk. Because he drank a lot of beers, whatever it was. Dude, he started fucking chewing them out. I'm a command sergeant major. I'm E9. Blah blah blah. This and this and that. And the Puerto Rican guard was like, "Okay, thanks, but you violated curfew. Turn around, dude." They cuffed him. They called the jock, and they were like, "Hey, can we speak to the wing commander? Tell the wing commander this was going on." Dude, that fucking E9 was gone. Like, think 2 days later, bro. Went back to his home unit. He got replaced. They couldn't, because they weren't dealing with that shit, man. Yeah. But that zero tolerance was no joke. I mean, those Puerto Rican guard, they didn't care. They were there to have fun, but as well, if they were working, they were like, "Hey, let's have fun working too."
Yeah, that's fucking.
They're like, "Yo, if we could get fucking somebody in trouble, let's get him in trouble." Like, they didn't care that he was an E9. You know what I'm saying?
I always tell people about Honduras, about that story, how we went to that club, and then there was like that. I forgot who we were with, but they got robbed by machete, and they came back in with the no shoes.
Yeah, that was a local. He was a local national. The crazy thing is, I still talk to him.
I always tell people about him.
I still keep in touch with him on Facebook. But yeah, you're right. He walked back in and didn't have no fucking sneakers on, man. That just sucks.
But it's nothing.
I'm just glad he didn't get hurt, like shot or anything like that. Because there was the Hondurans. Some of those locals were fucking crazy as fuck.
Yeah. Well, especially some of the shit that like we're out having fun and stuff like that, and we're not really. We were having so much fun. I don't know if anybody of us was really in the right state of mind to sit there and be like, "Hey, are we getting close to that line?" I don't know. I just know we had a blast, and it was like a good time, and it really worked out. You spoke Spanish, because it's one of those ones too. I think that place is like, if you didn't speak Spanish, it might have sucked. That time there might have been a really long time.
Right.
We just never had to worry about that shit. So
yeah, because they would have took advantage, man. They would have took advantage, and So when I first got there, one of my good friends, he took me out to this spot where they like cook fish and stuff like that. So we're sitting there, and he was meeting with one of his Honduran girls or whatever, and we're hanging out. And sometimes I get confused for being Italian, just because I put gel, I slick my hair back, and everything else.
The New York accent, you know.
So these Honduran girls started talking Spanish, thinking that or no, and they basically were saying that, "Yo, let's have them buy us, drinks, whatever, this and that, and we're just gonna use them for the whole fucking day." So I just sat there and I'm listening. I looked at my boy. I said, "Yo, we're leaving." He was like, "Why?" And I was like, "These bitches are gold diggers." And of course they turned around. Were like, "Why? What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, yo hablo español." And I just started rambling off like, "Yo, you ain't gonna play us. You know what I'm saying? You girls fucked up, and now we're out of here." But dude, when you go to a club and they're calling the girls arañas, spiders, you're in fucking trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit is not gonna go well.
Yeah, I tried to party like we did in Honduras when I got back to Japan, and I was like, "Oh, never mind. That's
so stupid."
I was like, "Order a bottle, man. Let's go bottle time, man. Let's get a bottle of vodka." And they're like, "This is how much it costs." I was like, "I'm fine, man. Never mind. I'll take one more drink, please." Like, fuck no, man.
Yo, shit got real, man.
It would be like, "Hey, let's another bottle. How much is that? $10 or whatever." What was it, like $10-15 for a bottle or some shit?
It was real cheap. Because that's why when I used to go out with at least 2,000 lempiras. Yeah. That was like maybe $100-200. You know what I'm saying? And you lived royalty, man.
Kings, man.
Royalty.
And it's like, I just remember that, like, you go someplace and you be like, another bottle, and like, we're just having a blast, and it's like, how much does that cost? I think it cost us $50 tonight. Hey, does everyone got $5? Okay, cool. We made money. Like, we'll party tonight.
And that taxi driver got taken care of too, man. He was living fat with us.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was coming home with turkey. The wife was like, "Diablo, you got us some turkey again." He's like, "Man, the Americans are taking care of us. Don't worry about it."
Where are you gonna be at tonight? I'm gonna be at just the club watching them. Are you sure? We're good, man.
Yo, I couldn't understand that. I was like, "All right, thank you." He'd be like, "No, I'll wait for you in the parking lot."
And it worked out so well. It was the best thing in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I tried partying like we did in Honduras, and it did not work anywhere else because it's just the money was just not there.
It's not the
only
same.
Place. No, only place in the world where we could have fun.
Imagine you doing that in Vegas. Woo! Your fucking bill would have been $5,000. Because we had at least 3 to 4 Grey Goose bottles.
Yeah.
All the time. And, they were the normal big fucking leaders one day. Yeah. They weren't no fucking small shit. Dude, 6. I think the one time that we did where all the girls came out with us was like at least 6 bottles of Grey Goose.
Something stupid like that. It was like a record. And I think the next night we did something different too.
Do you remember when we went to the club and the club owner or the manager came out and met us? and she was like, "Oh, who you bringing in?" And we were like pointing, and she was like, "Come on!" Like she
Yeah.
walked us in. You know what I'm saying? Like not. It wasn't like we reserved VIP or anything. Like she just knew we were coming and was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
come with
we're
us."
spending money tonight.
Yes, and she was like, I was like, man, this was the best fucking red carpet treatment I ever got, man. This was
I
nice.
know. We spent
So,
$50, and that was the crazy part. It was like,
$50. We had like 6 bottles of fucking Grey Goose.
but what's crazy, it's like that. That's that one employment that I came back in debt. Like I came back like a couple $1,000s in debt because we're just like, we'll go here, we'll go there, we'll have fun. And you're like, it's fine, it'll get covered by this. And you're like, never mind, it didn't get covered. I owe money on this trip.
Oh shit!
But you know, like I think those are like it's crazy because like I'll meet people, and you can tell they've never left the United States. They have no fucking clue how the rest of the world works. Like, and that's why I like to tell people about the Honduras story because I'm like, hey man, we went to that club actually had guards. This dude literally stepped outside the fence and got robbed by a machete. Like it's a different world you live in, and like yeah, we had a blast there and stuff, but it's like you tell people like, hey man, there's a different world that goes on outside the United States.
Right.
There's some really fucked up people that for a couple bucks, man, your life means zero to them.
Nope.
And I think that's the problem we have right now with a lot of people is like they they like to sit there and say, hey, the world's the worst thing in the world, or America's like this is that. I'm like, yeah, man, I've seen a couple of it, man, and it's pretty dark. Like I've even heard some things. You go to the Philippines, how much a girl costs for the night. Like you can actually purchase people. It's pretty easy, and a lot of us military guys have those experiences, heard the stories, et cetera, because of the life we live or something like that. But it's like that shit is real, man. Burger King in Honduras had legit fucking security guards because you get fucking robbed at Burger King.
Yep. You could literally any supermarket store, any deli store, they hire their own people. Like people would just come up. I already can see it. They're coming up with a fucking machete, like, "Hey, I'm gonna be your security. I'll be right outside if you need me. I'm self-employed now. You know what I'm saying? So start paying me. Like, what the fuck? I didn't hire you to be like, don't worry, I'm gonna watch the store. But when I was deploying to Diego Garcia, we made a stop in Singapore, man. You want to talk about like third world country like Honduras? Yo, Singapore was no joke. So I knew the pilots because the command post and the pilots, we always worked hand in hand with crew, air crew, anything air crew, we worked hand in hand. And we were both from Travis. So we land there, and I knew we were going to land there and stay the night because it's a hot spot. Singapore is one of those party places or whatever. So the crew tells us, like, come, we're going to go out. We're going to go to some place and hang out and everything else. So it's like me and some other airmen with controllers, and we're like, okay, cool. So we go to building, we drop our stuff off, we change and everything else. So I tell the load master, is like, yo, where we're going? And he goes, oh, we're going to the 4 floors of whores. I was like, what the fuck? He was like, yo, it's a hot spot. Every time we land here, we go there, this and this and that. And I'm like, the 4 floors of whores? It literally is the name. Each floor has a club. And in those floors are literally prostitutes that just wait for the GIs to come out. As soon as they see American come out, dude, they're fucking Olympic running over there to try to get you to, spend the night with them, spend money on them and everything else. Luckily for me, that I had some real good wingmen, because my ass would have been fucked. There were 2 of them that were like, oh, 200 each. I was like, bitch. I was like, yo, the prostitutes in the United States don't even charge that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when did inflation happen in Singapore that is costing 200 for each girl? But one of my homegirls, she was like, yo, Izzy, let's go. We need to get the fuck out of here, because we were leaving the next day. And I was just like, but yo, as soon as we walked out of the club, it was like cockroaches. Just a swarm of fucking prostitutes coming out. And again, each floor that we went to to the club, the same thing, because I don't think they allowed them into the club just because the business. Mm-hmm. Like, they didn't want the club's owners, they didn't want their business ruined with these prostitutes. So they literally would wait outside. And as soon as you came out, like cockroaches, man, just swarming you, fucking getting on you and everything else. And now it clicked to me why these crews wanted to stay there. You know what I'm saying? Because especially if the jet was broken for several days, you know what you were doing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you got India. I've heard of it. Like people going to India, you got the 7 floors of horrors. Like the same thing. Like
Yo,
it is
crazy.
fucking crazy around
It
the
is.
world. And what's the funnier part about it is like a lot of the military guys know about that shit. It's like, if you date a military guy, like if you dated a military guy while he was in, you know enough to like not ask him something. But if you married a guy who got out of the military and he's been like 7 years out, don't go digging in his past, man. He got
Yes.
some dark shit. He has some shit where you're just like, you did what? Like, let's not talk about that. Like,
Yeah, because I actually today I went to a birthday luncheon, and one of the birthday girls, her friend, she was telling me that her husband did 10 years in the army, but he's the best thing ever. Like she's like, I love him. He treats me great and everything else, and I'm just like, it makes sense because probably in those 10 years that he was in, who knows what the fuck that motherfucker was doing. You know what I'm saying? So he probably got out and was like,
yeah,
I need to change because that shit was too crazy back then. I need to get
man.
my head on straight and everything else. But I'm sure she doesn't know the
Yeah.
dark shit. You know what
You
I'm saying?
gotta,
Like she'll be like, how was the army? He'd be like, oh, it was great.
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
all you're gonna hear.
You never talk about anything else.
Never.
It's that code. It's just like, I'm not going to say shit. Like, why? Like, we just had fun, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
Where'd you go? Like, we went here. And I think that's how you should be, honestly, because it's like, you don't really know. And I think it's better people don't fucking know. Like, are you telling me that a lot of our training happens in like Thailand and Philippines and these motherfuckers go and have these stories and they all like coincide? You're like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, and everybody knows about it. Like, actually, yeah. So when they know they're going there, everyone kind of is approving of them doing that. It's like, kind of, yeah, in a sense, like we know what's up.
And that's why Nasty don't want to talk to me. That's why Nasty blocked me from any social media platform besides LinkedIn because the professional one.
I think the other one blocked me too, or like deleted me off of Facebook. But I saw like he got promoted to like sergeant major, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I got a photo of you on my Facebook drunk. Like it makes sense. I didn't know that at the time. Like, like it makes sense.
Be like, yo, guess what's popping up in your memory?
You're all hungover drunk.
Blast.
But it's true though, man. You got these people that are military people, and they're like, they've done a lot of great things, and they've grown up, and I get it. Yeah. We've all grown up. We've all done a lot of dumb shit, but we were not the smartest when we were brand new in, and we've done a lot of things very questionable. Yes. Which is so funny because it's like, where if people give us so much respect and shit, it's like, I mean, yeah, whatever, I guess, but we do a lot of dumb shit, and we have a lot of dumb stories with a lot of dumb friends, and I think that's why we're so tight with each other is because like. I have a friend right now. Like we talk about stuff, but like, I was working for the Air Force as a civilian, and he's still in, and so like he was training, and he was actually like a trainer. So people go to him to go train and stuff like that, and so they would know that I know him, and like like that, and it'd be like, yeah, we know each other, and it's like that kind of like, yeah, he says he has some stories on you, and I was like, yep, and I have some stories on him too. So we kind of just always leave it at that, like, it's like he's older, more respectable. He's his NCO now, and it's like cool. However, I knew when he had a nickname and he lived up to his nickname. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just how it goes, I guess.
It's funny because a lot of times when I'm surrounded by friends that were military or still in the military, we'll always be laughing, and other people who don't know just be like, "Damn, like what's going on?" You know what I'm saying? Because you do have those inside stories, man. Like only that certain person will get that joke. You know what I'm saying? As to why you said what you said. Like now. How we say nasty. We laugh because we know nasty. You know what I'm saying? And if nasty was here, nasty would be laughing too to be like, I get it. But anybody else, they would be like, yo, why is that so funny about a hooch mate? But
especially at the picture of her. I think that was the weirdest part, man. It was just like, they're like, do you fall in love with your hooch mate? It was just like, man, you're here for a year. You're not in like Iraq or Afghanistan right now. You're doing fine in life, and you're, but. And I don't know. There's some weird, it's we always have some weird people.
And the money was being paid early because remember they made $20 a week, I think it was, to clean. Yeah. Dude, the money was paid early, bro. Early. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's crazy.
Weird people, man.
Yeah.
Well, shit, brother. Well, until next week.
Yes, sir. My computer did good.
We'll see. You're at 75.
I know, I see that. I ain't leaving this pay. I'm not even hanging up.